opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
Well, on the Fourth Line Hockey Show, I'm your host, Willie Plouffe. I am on my own today. Usually I have my winger, Jill Hasbeek, but he has been suspended. Last time we talked about concussions, running guys, taking care of players. Jill got a little bit upset. In beer league hockey, he took somebody out, and now he's on the bench. Actually, he's having some beers in Mexico right now. But anyways, Fourth Line Hockey Show today is bringing you some great stuff. We have a goaltender coming into you, from my hood, NK area, Hasbeek's area. Andy Kollar's coming in. Andy's played with UND. He's played some college. He's played some junior. He's traveled, from here west, did some east stuff, played in some big league beer league hockey tournaments. Andy's had a great career, and also he's the son of a scout for Vancouver Canucks. We're going to talk a lot about what Andy did and what Andy did as a goalie and how it is sometimes, how hard it is being a goaltender. And you know what? Keep on going. Sometimes you're kicked, sometimes you're bounced off teams, but Andy brings another perspective to the squad, talking all about, keeping focused, staying on target, having a dream, making that dream happen, playing 3 or 4 years at UND Fighting Sioux. And we all know, coming from Manitoba, how hard it is to get over there and playing for the Sioux. We've had several players on, Darcy Matani, we talked to Russ Romanok, we talked to Brad Rice, Tyler Rice, a lot of guys who played over there at UND. And Andy's got some really good stories about some of the guys he's played with, a lot of pros he's played with, who's gone on. And also, can you believe it or not, Andy has been involved in several concussions, and we had a huge show talking about Dr. Jeff Leader with Dr. Jeff Leader about concussions. Andy has had 8 of them as a goaltender. He's been ran, he's been in scraps, he's been involved in a lot of different things. He's going to talk about the headaches he still has now. He's going to talk lots about, younger players, younger goaltenders, continuing what they need to do and stay focused on what they need to do to go further on as a goaltender. And you know what? Talking off air with Andy before he comes on the show, we talked a little bit about the Western Hockey League, where he wanted to go to the dub, and at that time he's a little bit smaller. They weren't looking at him. You know what? He made the other choice, played a long career at college, and we want to talk all about that and some of the players that need to stay focused and what they need to do, and also off-ice training. Also looking at spring hockey. Is it good for you? Is it not good for you? Because that's always a hot topic coming out in spring hockey. We're going to continue rolling on. I'm wearing the Calgary Flames because today is the first day that Iggy is leaving Calgary, and we are Calgary fans. Iggy's moving on. We're going to move on. We're going to bring in Andy Kollar right after we go for a break. Come back, talk to Andy all about being a tender, all about his favorite team. His dad's a scout. We're looking at all different things right back at you.
Close your eyes and count away. No, don't, 'cause I can't wait. Everything's free in this field of fantasy.
At Shaw, bear hugs take on a whole new meaning. Since 1989, we've given more than 335,000 Shaw bears to children when they need them the most, because we believe that one bear hug is great, but endless bear hugs are amazing.
Even if you don't have insurance, your dentist can help you get the dental care you need.
Your dentist can help you assess the benefits of treatment and the consequences of avoiding it before any decisions are made, whether you're insured or not.
Only your dentist has the education and expertise to diagnose and treat all of your oral health needs.
To find out more, visit manitobadentist.ca.
Talk to your dentist. Good for you, good for life.
You don't need a media monkey to make healthy choices. Think for yourself. A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
Before we went off the break, we talked about bringing Andy Kollar, a goalie from the hood, from my hood, from Hasbeek's hood. We're proud of bringing Andy Kollar, and before I bring him in, I do want to mention we're back here at Royal Sports Shop once again on Pembina Highway, which is great. So here we go. We're going to bring in Andy Kollar. Andy Kollar, come on in, buddy. Welcome to the Fourth Line Hockey Show.
Thanks for having me.
I see, Andy, you're sporting the Boston Bruins, jersey. What's up with that, man?
You know what? It was bred in me at a very early age from my father. He he was a diehard Bruins fan, so I wanted to do what my dad did, and it stuck with me my whole life. So, you know, we finally got our cup.
You know, there we go. We don't have any issues with Andy being a Bruins fan because we love all hockey. Every NHL team, American, the Young Bucks, all the way up. Andy, I want to tell, you know, like on our show, we always say to the people who come on, our guests, of course, who is Andy Kollar? Give us a little bit. Give the audience who you are.
Andy Kollar. Well, I grew up, born and raised in Winnipeg. I found an early passion for hockey from my father. He had such a passion for hockey, and I just wanted to be just like him. So, you know, we started at an early age. He put me in net right off the hop, and it stuck with me. So, grew up playing minor hockey in Winnipeg. Through the years, I got to high school, got to play 1 year high school hockey at Rivers Kodiaks. We did really well that year. Gave me a good chance to go somewhere, so I went to play for St. James Canadians. They had a team for Junior A, and played for Mr. Wayne Chernicki. Had another great year there. We won the championship that year, and I was starting to think about, you know, all throughout the years, I wanted to play in the WH or Western Hockey League, and you know, I was always too small, and I just kept working hard and kept getting on these teams and doing well, and finally got a chance to make the decision, you know, if I wanted to continue playing hockey and what the options were. So I thought of the college route, and I thought, what would be the best way to get there? And for me, I was told the USHL Junior Hockey League in the States was the best way to get an opportunity to get a scholarship anywhere throughout the U.S. So sure enough, I went down to get a chance to play in Fargo for a year, and sure enough, got a scholarship to UND that year. So.
How good is that, Andy? So we're talking about, you know, Andy plays in the hood for Rivers Kodiaks High School Hockey, Junior A in Manitoba, heads down south to play in the Junior A level there, then goes to UND Fighting Sioux, which is a huge town, huge hockey community. You get an opportunity to go there, it's great. You can't, it's awesome, right?
It was almost like a dream come true, because as a kid we got WDAZ, and we got to watch Sioux hockey, and at the time it was around '87.
Rusty Romarek was playing back.
You bet, yeah. And they had the Hercus Circus, and it got you pumped. You saw the atmosphere, and you thought, what a great place to play.
Eddie Balfour, you know, another attender right there. There you go.
No, yeah, it was very fortunate that UND was looking at me and the other goalie on our junior team in Fargo, Carl Gehring, who was a fellow Moose here, and they took us both the following year.
How good is that? Now, Andy, let's talk a little bit about, you know, playing Junior A in Manitoba and playing Junior A over in Fargo. Much difference going on there? Different type of hockey? You know, we're aggressive guys, and Americans are coming our way, of course they are, and hockey's turning around a lot.
You know, we always preach, you know, Canada's hockey is the best hockey you can find, and you know, so it was a little scared to go down to the USHL. Didn't know what to expect. And 1 year in St. James, we like I said, we won the national the Manitoba championship, and it was such a big experience for me. And then getting the chance to play in Fargo, it was almost a job now. Like in Winnipeg, I had school, I had a job, I had a family, girlfriend. You know, we practiced once a week at the time. It was very unfortunate. So, getting the chance to go to Fargo, our first game was in Green Bay, and they had 3,000 fans there, yelling at you and just giving it to you. And I was quite shocked. The bus rides, it would seem like you're a professional at that time. So it really helped you develop.
So out in Fargo down south, they treat you pretty good as a player, right? And they always have. Like, would they take care of you guys pretty good?
Yeah, in Fargo, you know, in North Dakota, they're such a, you wouldn't think of it, they're such a hockey community. Yeah. They love their junior, they love their college, especially the Sioux. And it's split too, because you're right on the border of Minnesota, so there's a lot of Gophers fans, which is the biggest rivalry there is. So they're really passionate about it. It reminded me a lot about Winnipeg, how passionate the fans are for their sports and hockey. Now,
Andy, once you play at USHL, you make that call, and you get the call from the coach from UND or a scout from UND saying, hey, you know what, we're interested in you. Would you like to come down here and come and play with us guys now? How was that feeling?
It was a no-brainer. It was really a no-brainer. I was actually going to go back. It was a fortunate situation for me that I was going to go back to junior for 1 more. I had 1 more year left. I was getting older by then, and then a couple days before I was going back to juniors, UND's third stringer decided not to come back, so it opened up a spot for me. So they already had a sophomore who just won the national championship, Carl Gehring, who just set every record in the USHL, and then me, myself, trying to get an opportunity to get there. So it was a no-brainer. I said, when can I be there, kind of idea.
Now, Andy, what is the practice schedule for a UND player? Like, On campus, right? Practice after school, or practice before school, or during school, or like, you know, lunchtime. What's a typical day for a UND player?
You live, eat, breathe hockey. You got to work your classes around your practice schedule, because your practice usually starts around 1, you get to the rink around noon, and you spend 4 or 5 hours at the rink. You know, you got your couple-hour practice, your workouts after that, and then your study hall after that. So you got to advise your classes around your hockey schedule, and a lot of it you can do from 7 to noon. So they focus. I preach that the hockey was #1, but they also preach schooling be your first priority, because you have to keep up the marks. Yeah. So you got to balance that, and as a young kid, it's tough to balance both schedules. So it's really hard to learn your first couple of years to how to adjust to that. So keeping up your grades, being on the road every weekend, or at home playing games, it was tough for me to get used to. But I was fortunate enough to redshirt my first year, where I practiced and I didn't get a chance to play. So it gave me the opportunity to figure out the balance between that schedule.
How great is that? We're going to break off right now to the Two Amigos move of the day. And the move of the day, talking to Andy about, you know, goaltending, being a tender. Guys, girls, everybody out there, low blocker side. The move, dip in, come back, snapshot, low blocker side, and you will put it in the net. When we come back with Andy Kollar again, we're going to talk with Andy all about concussions. He's been in a few scraps. He's been ran over. He's caught some heat on the ice. We'll be right back at you.
I thought indoor tanning was safe.
They said their tanning rays were less likely to cause a sunburn.
What you need to know is UV light from indoor tanning
can cause premature aging.
And even worse, UV light can increase your risk of skin cancer,
including melanoma, the deadliest form of skin cancer.
In fact, current estimates are that 1 in 7 Canadians will develop skin cancer.
And 1 person dies from skin cancer about every 7 hours.
I don't want to be one of them.
This message brought to you by the Canadian Dermatology Association.
You don't need a media monkey. Think for yourself. A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
Before we went off air, we talked a little bit with Andy, you know, playing in different leagues, different junior leagues, playing at UND, different spots. But we didn't touch on, you know, Andy wanted to play in the Western Hockey League, and we talked a little bit about the size difference, Andy, and goaltenders now. You know, goalies come in all different sizes, right? And sometimes, you know, they're looking at bigger guys. What's your perspective on that, Andy? Like going and try for the dub, and also, man, size-wise, right?
Well, at an early age, the game was, well, the game has changed a lot, right? And the goalies are huge now. And when I was getting that opportunity, they just looked at my size, and, you know, I was small. I was 5'6", 130 pounds. So the skill level, I felt I had it there. I had a lot to learn still, being young, but, you know, the WHL, you see these big monsters, big kids, and that's one thing you can't do. You can't teach size, right? Yeah. So I was waiting for my growth spurt, still am. Might happen when I'm 40, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, you know, Andy, I've got you, like, you know, you're kind of, you know, we kind of like rest the stubby on your head once in a while, no?
You know, I'm good for some things, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, and I learned a couple of years going to camps in the dub there, you realize that, you know, they're looking for a certain attribute, and I felt every camp I did well, but it wasn't good enough to stick around. So I just kept working hard on my game, working on the things that a smaller goalie can do, is being agile, being very aggressive. One of the things you see goalies nowadays, young kids, sitting in practice just waiting for shots. Waiting, not doing it, nobody's working with them. The first thing my dad told me, grab a puck, start stick handling, start learning how to play the puck. You know, it'll come in handy. And one of my biggest attributes is reading the play and playing that puck. So it was one of the things that I can't work on my size, so work on something that can make me benefit. So
Andy, let's reframe that, because, you know, a lot of goaltenders are out there now. If you're a smaller individual, like you say, you can't teach size. Size is the way it is, right?
Right.
You recommend, again, when you're doing size there, to look at and also focus on doing something with pucks and like doing well. How can you make it better to improve your game?
Well, no, I get the chance to teach goalies at all ages, and one of the things I work on them is their agility, their feet drills, right? It's something they can do on their own every day at practice when nobody's dealing with them. When the team's working on power play, you can do the ladder drills in your crease. You can work on your agility. Now the game's evolved into a lot of walking on your knees, and, you know, for the big boys, they don't need to be getting up and moving around. So for the smaller guys, try to work on your agility in front of the net. Try working on playing the puck. You know, it's just the little things that help you benefit, that'll push you forward.
That's so true. Now, Andy, you know, as being a coach myself and, you know, coaching, like, I'm not a goalie coach at all, and I don't know much about, you know, we have people come and talk to the goaltenders. Do you think that the tenders should participate in most all skating drills? Like when the guys are doing the, you know, the drills at the beginning, getting loose and doing the drills, should the tender be part of that?
I'm a firm believer in that. Everybody always says they always tell the guy who can't skate net, which is not the case. I feel the goalie should be one of the best skaters on the ice. So every time they're in practice, the goalie should be involved in every skating drill, warming up and all that, and then they can go do their stretching and do all that stuff on their own. But I feel they should be involved in all the skating drills.
And it's very important to, you know, for people out there to realize, parents out there, that just because your son is in net doesn't mean he doesn't have to work. You have to work just as hard, because you are the last line defenseman. You're stopping the rubber. Yeah. You need to be, you know, agile, mobility, everything, you know, that. Boom, you got to get at it, right?
It's funny, everybody thinks goalies are maybe not the best shape guys on the team. And every time you get a chance to go skate out and guys go in nets, they can't make it through a little shinny game because their legs are just dying, and it's kind of funny to see that. It's enjoyable sometimes. So you get a better sense when you put the gear on and get up and down 100 times or whatever it is in the practice. So I feel that they have to be in great shape to be there.
I think that's a great call. I think every parent should go in net. I went to father-son game. I went in the pipes when the kids were playing AA, and I tell you, I was in pain. Never again. Even they're shooting for, you know, they're not even shooting. They're shooting hard, but not really hard, right? With stuffy face. But yeah, I don't think it was the shots are that hard. It was my body, the movement. Like, you know, I did have a little bit of love handles back then also, so it was a little bit harder rolling over. I think that's very important. Like, tenders need to know.
Oh, definitely.
You got to be in shape.
You'll see the guys icing their groins and their abs and everything after the game for the first time.
Now, Andy, when the guys are doing, you got to ice those legs. When the guys are doing, the forwards, defensemen are working the puck, doing drills and that, and you're off by yourself as a tender, you're recommending grab a puck, stick handle, because you do need to, you know, up and downs or pushing the pucks to sides, or?
I think it's a combination of all of them. You know, like, the game has changed, like I said, size goalies and everything, but and even the goalies playing the puck, putting the where you can't go anymore, the parameters where goalies can't go behind the net. But you still should be a valuable asset, be another defenseman almost back there when you have the opportunity to help them out, give them the time they need. But you also should work on your feet drills, your up and downs. There's a lot of drills set up for goalies now that you can do on your own while the team's not focusing on you in practice.
No, and you want to talk, before we get into concussions, I want to talk a little bit about, for individuals out there, realize, you know, your hockey career is I think it's a great hockey career. A guy who never quits, a guy who starts in high school hockey, goes all the way up to play at UND. And you know what? If you're not playing in the Western Hockey League, let's face it, if you're not in the dub, UND's the next spot to be. I'm not saying which one's better, which is not better.
Right.
Both great programs, huge programs. But going to UND, I think that's a great story. Can you give a little bit insight to the players, like, not to the parents and young bucks out there? You know what? Keep rolling. Never quit.
Well, that's the biggest thing. You know, you're told a lot, you know, too small, and I still hear to this day kids trying out for teams that if you're too small, you'll never make it. You keep working hard, working on your game will show itself out. And the chance that I got to go to UND was very fortunate. I feel almost blessed that I got that opportunity. It was almost a fluke. And the friends and the ties that I've created there, it's like a brotherhood. They treat you so well there. They treat you to how to be a professional. They treat you all the things you need to do in real life, even if it's not hockey, just being in the business world or any family, anything like that. It's been installed on me through UND. Now, I was very fortunate to win a national championship there, play with a lot of players that you know, got to further their career, and that's my enjoy, is watching those guys continue to play the game and enjoy it. So it's fun watching some games at nighttime.
And we just were talking, I was supposed to be on your team going down south to the Barons Cup, and 13A1 team, Johnny Poole and I, they won the championship, so we couldn't go down there to join you. But like, you're talking about the friends you made going back and playing, like some of the players like Hale, Commodore, those are some, and those are NHL studs, and that's pretty quick. That's pretty sweet.
Well, you keep that bond. You talk to them every month, these guys, and so when you put in a team to go down to Grand Forks for a nice senior tournament, and some guys bail on you. I'm not going to name names last minute, so you got to put together some teams. And unfortunately, I got to call David Hale, and he lives in Grand Forks, and another buddy, Kevin Spiewak, who played East Coast, won the national champions with us, lives in Fargo. They all came running, and they brought their friends, so we were able to fill a squad and have fun. And it's funny to watch a guy like David Hale who's been out of the game for a year, how talented you have to be to play in the NHL, because this guy was a rock.
Yeah, so, and it's such a great feeling when we all play sports. It doesn't have to be hockey, but we all that involvement of building the friendships and maintain those friendships. Like you say, they come calling, and that's a great thing. And you know, being part of a whole team and what you're doing is awesome. That's a great thing. Like calling those guys up, coming, that just shows you, man, the camaraderie that has been built.
I'm very fortunate in that sense. One of my good buddies I talk to every week is Mike Commodore, and he's going through a tough time. He's played 10 years in the NHL and has got a Stanley Cup World Championship, and he calls me advice. He treats me like an everyday Joe, and he doesn't look down upon you or anything. He's just a great guy to have in your life.
That is huge. You know what? We're going to break off right now to the Ice Traders. I usually go to my partner, Jill Hasley, but he's not here. We're going to let our guest, Andy, talk about. Andy, what is the Ice Traders quote of the day?
Well, I learned this from one of our biggest alumni members at UND. His name is Ralph Engelstad. He donated the money to build the rink. So his quote was, "The harder I work, the luckier I get."
So that's a pretty good quote. We're going to break off. When we come back, we're going to talk with Andy about concussions, clean up a little bit, and have some fun.
What are you in for?
I just twisted my knee at work. No big deal.
Who's next?
Over 60% of workplace injuries are sprains, strains, and tears, and they're 100% preventable. View and download prevention materials at safemanitoba.com.
You don't need a media monkey. Think for yourself. A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
Here we go again with Andy Kollar, one of the best goalies coming out of Manitoba on the back end from, you know what, old school Andy coming from the hood. Andy, we're talking off air a little bit about concussions. We have many shows about concussions. We had Dr. Jeff Leader talking about, you know, people getting hurt and going on. You're telling me you had 8 concussions?
Yeah. There's been a few days where it's tough to wake up in the morning.
And we're talking right now, Andy, still you got headaches going on?
Yeah, you know, I get pretty bad head pains at nighttime and throughout the day, and neck pains, but it's just what you had to do your job kind of thing. And things have changed a lot, because I wasn't the star player. I didn't get a lot of ice time. I was the backup, and when I got an opportunity, I didn't want to miss my time. So if your head was a little rattled when I was playing, you didn't say much. You wanted to play. And now, seeing all this buzz and the hype about concussions, it's good to see the studies are being done, and it was well needed, because guys are getting seriously hurt from these injuries.
You know, we talked before, and gone are the days where I say, Andy, get up, boom, you're back out there.
Yeah.
If you're hit and rattled, it's changed. You need to take it easy, and as a coach and, you know, as a parent, you need to look at things and say, hey, what's going on?
Well, it's more, it's exactly right, but in my situation, there's a lot of guys in my situations that they needed to play, so you wanted to play. It was just a little bump, right? But now with these studies, it's showing severely damaging effects to it. So I'm very happy to see this.
You know what? And just as you're talking, the phone was ringing. I bet you that's my winger Hasby calling, saying, you know what? I need another Corona on the beach in Cancun. Studies are happening. People are getting involved. Now, would you say your concussions came, Andy, from you know, pucks in the head, or being ran over, guys running the net, or being body checked or get hit?
You know, it was a combination of a lot of things. The first couple were slap shots going through helmets and hitting you the wrong way, and then the next couple were like guys brushing you, like jamming your head back, and it seemed like it was easier to get whiplash, more or less, would rattle my head a lot. So I'd get just slew-footed by accident when you're playing the puck, and my head would bounce off the ice.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think for the next couple minutes, but you know, now with these studies, like kids are being pulled off the ice and taking the proper precautions for them. So it's very good to see.
Now, and it's good to see also that the NHL and junior levels and all different are changing the rules that, you know, tenders can't. There's no longer you can run a goalie, or, you know, it's forbidden now. It always has been.
Right.
Things happen when it's happened, but it seems like a little bit less now, which is good because, you know, a tender's a tender, right? And you don't want to be getting hurt.
I'm biased. I'm going to stick with the tendies on this. Everybody always says they're diving. You know, they're getting just barely touched. But if they're behind the net playing the puck and you get your foot jammed, it's tough to stay balanced when it's from behind. So I'm sticking to the goalie side. I'm glad that it's been looked after more or less, and I'll stick to the GU on this one.
You know, someone important calling here at World Sports Shop. You know, dial in pizza. Here we go, Boston Pizza. You know, also, Andy, is there any way that a tender can protect themselves from going to get ran or concussions? Or I guess you can't protect from concussions, but I mean, like, protect yourself from getting hit.
You know, it's. I think there's precautions you can take, but if you're thinking about during the game, you're not really doing your job. You got to play full out, play your game, and if you're worried about getting hit or getting mixed up, then you're in the wrong mindset, is how I feel. So you don't really take it into consideration. Your gear should protect you enough. Yeah. Although these new rules with shrinking the goalie's gear, I don't think it's going to benefit a lot. I think it's just goalies are going to get hurt more.
Right.
There's other things we can work on, but I don't think there's a way really you can protect yourself without making it an option thinking about during the game.
And one thing about, you know, I know for myself and my gear, I made sure my gear was for me, right? And being a goaltender, being a tender, you also have to make sure that gear fits you the way you feel comfortable, right?
Definitely. Yeah, like in the shop here, I don't know if you guys haven't got out to Royal Sports, get out here. They got the best setup of goalie gear, and they got guys here knowing how to size you up and the proper fitting for the proper style of goalie you are. Because there's a couple different styles of goalies that you need the different styles of pads. So, you know, stand up, butterfly, hybrid. There's different options for you. So you need to get set up properly how your game is played.
Yeah, for sure. We had Ryan Sear from GDI talking the same thing, same words, that exact same thing you said, is that, you know, making sure, because goalies are different style, right? It's Definitely. All kind of different. Now, before we move on a little bit more, I want to talk about, we were talking with Andy about one of his great stories, and tell us about the story where you just told me about where you're almost in a brawl when your last games.
Very awkward situation here. I was playing in Macon, Georgia, hockey hotbed of North America, just an hour south of Atlanta. And all throughout the year, I was having a good year, and I played aggressive, took a few penalties here and there. And they got their big fan base of 125 people. You know, they're really interactive with you, and they always said, "When are you going to get in a fight?" I'm like, "Goalie fight? Not going to happen. Maybe. Who knows?" Yeah. Last game of the year, we're playing Lakeland, and we're winning 10-1 after 2, and I'm like, this could be it. So I'm waiting for any situation. It's late in the third. It's probably a little goalie gets poked, and a little line brawl looks like it's going to start. So I put my head down, start trucking down the ice. Get to the blue line, I look up, and everybody's almost faced off at the dot now, and nobody's fighting anymore, nobody's doing anything. I'm like, oh no, this is awkward. So I kept going, went to the goalie. I'm like, hey, do you want to go? He looked at me and said, "No way, man, I'm getting killed out here. I don't even want any of this." I'm like, oh, okay. Turned back, started skating back down the ice. I'm like, God, this is awkward, this is awkward. But sure enough, one of their guys came off the bench and taught me a lesson not to do that. Sweet.
All that way down there to drop the mitts. He says, no way, and you got to go all the way back.
Definitely, yeah. It was a very awkward situation. So it was, awesome. You learn your lessons that way. Let it happen. Don't force it.
That's awesome. And, you know, we also talked a little bit about being a parent, Andy, and you got a new one, you know, 5-year-old playing hockey and getting going in. Times have changed a little bit. How do you see the parents reacting now? Like, we've had a show on sometimes parents are getting pretty excited out there.
Yeah. I don't remember it being this way where hockey, well, and I know I got to adjust to the times, but I don't remember it being a full year deal. And now if they're not playing in the summertime and springtime and fall time, they're missing the boat almost. And I want my 5-year-old, I don't want him playing hockey all year round. I want him to play golf or soccer or baseball or whatever, have fun in the summertime. So maybe I'm a old school thinker, but you know, we want to go to the lake. You know, we want to enjoy this stuff. So
have some fun.
Yeah, if he wants to do it, he'll do it. You know, he's 5. He might not even play hockey when he's 8. Who knows? You
know, and we've had a big show on that about spring hockey, and our kids will do the same thing. And that, you know, just gotta stay focused and keep rolling. I want to thank Andy Kollar coming out for the Fourth Line Hockey Show, talking about being a tender, talking about never quitting. People, stay focused. Your dream never ends. Keep going. Andy is a prime example from high school hockey right to playing at UND, winning a championship. It's huge. We'll see you guys next week.
The opinions expressed on the program you have just watched are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of this station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.